Welcome to 18th Century Cooking. I'm John Townsend and we're doing a wonderful dish today. We're actually doing something that seems very modern, but actually works perfectly for 200 years ago. We're doing macaroni, or we might call it today, macaroni and cheese. Thanks for joining us today. Macaroni is a really interesting topic, especially in England in the 18th century. It shows up in like 1760s, 1770s, not for the pasta dish specifically, but for fashion, which sounds kind of strange. Young gentlemen in the 18th century, they would take a continental trip, English gentlemen. They would take this continental trip. They would travel through Europe and they would go to Italy and they would get ideas for interesting ideas for fashion and for food and all kinds of things. They'd come back to England, they'd bring these ideas with them. And many times they wore sort of over-the-top, extravagant clothing. And they would call these guys macaroni, or they would say they were part of the macaroni club, right? And part of that is because they went to Italy and they enjoyed macaroni, the dish, the food. But the reason why they were called macaroni was because of what they were wearing. Now, the macaroni, the dish, the food, doesn't really show up in English cooking, or at least in the English cookbooks, until a little bit later into the 18th century. You really start to see these show up into the cookbooks in the 1780s, 1790s. It gets much more popular. So the recipe we're doing today is from 1784. It's John Farley's London Art of Cookery, and this one's just titled Macaroni. Let's get started. So the pasta we're working with today here is a small tube pasta. It's hard to guess exactly what their macaroni was like. There are some other recipes though that talk about small pipe macaroni that you cut into pieces. So apparently it was rather long tubes. So today we're working with this, which is about 1.5 inch small tube. Let's get this 4 ounces of pasta into our boiling water. So our macaroni has boiled up nice and tender, and I've put it in the sieve to dry it off well. And now it goes into a tossing pan or into a frying pan. Along with our macaroni goes a gill of cream. So I've got a gill of heavy cream here. We're gonna pour that in, and a gill is about 1/2 cup. And this is a ball of butter rolled in flour. That goes in here as well. And then onto the fire for about 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, it comes off of the fire. And here we add a lot of Parmesan cheese, and as the recipe says, toasted all over it. I'm coming in here with a salamander and toasting the top of this to brown it lightly. Wow, that looks so good. Well, again, this dish looks tremendous with that nice browned cheese up on top, and I'm gonna add just a hair of pepper to my macaroni and cheese because that's the way I like it. Let's find out how this particular batch turned out. I really enjoy Parmesan cheese. It's one of those cheeses that shows up many times in 18th century recipes. A few of the macaroni and cheese recipes that you see at the late 18th century, instead of Parmesan, they have Cheshire cheese, which is a common one that you'll see in the cookbooks also. One of the things it talks about is that this cools off very rapidly and that you should serve it on a water plate. In the 18th century, they had these plates that were sort of like double plates put together that you could pour hot water into the center of them to keep your dish nice and warm so that it could come to the table hot and it would stay hot. And that's one of the dishes, several of the recipes talk about that you want to put it in a water plate to keep it warm. But tremendous flavors, a wonderful, fairly simple recipe to put together. And right out of the 18th century. So there you go. 18th century macaroni and cheese, great flavors, simple dish to do. So much fun this episode. Wow, we've had a lot of new subscribers on the channel. I really want to welcome you new folks. if you haven't tried out the live streams, every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we do a live stream here on the channel. We have so much fun, so much activity. So I want to invite all you folks over to the live stream at Friday at 4 on Eastern time. Such a lot of fun, and people can get together in the comment section or in the chat section and talk about the recipes. And we do Q&A and other topics. So make sure to check out the live stream on Fridays. And I want to thank everyone out there for all the amazing things you do, comments and supporting us on Patreon and other ways. When you comment on our videos, when you share our videos with other folks, our channel, it's because of you that, that we get to do these wonderful things. So thank you so much for all you do, and thanks for watching.